Hey everybody, and welcome to another photography locked down challenge. This is awesome. I'm going to be your judge on this one, so you've got to do your best, okay? This week's theme is angles and corners and shapes. Now I know some of you are going to be looking at this room and going, but you've got loads of angles and corners and shapes and I don't have any in my place. Well, if you start looking, it's surprising what you will find. Seek and ye shall find. Now, just to promise, I'm not going to touch any of this end here because I know there's lots of angles, corners and shapes there. I'm not going to go near it. But if this whole challenge, this whole photography is about seeing. It's about looking anew and really concentrating and seeing new things, new corners, things you haven't noticed before. Photography is not about cameras and settings. It's about your vision, how you use light and composition, where you stand and when you click. Yes, of course, you've got to know how to drive the camera. You've got to know those handful of controls you actually need on a camera. That's what my Ultimate Beginner's course is all about. But the advanced stuff is actually all in your head. It's thinking. Many people think of advanced photography as being all about lighting equipment and radio transmitters and gadgets. It isn't. You heard Esdras speak on the first week. You saw the amazing shots he took. You're seeing our guest judges speak. How many of them talk about equipment and kit? How many of them talk about emotion and passion and where to be in the right place at the right time? How to see things, okay? I promise you, this is how photography works. It's a skill and you have to practice it. So, angles, corners and shapes. This week's hashtag is on screen and we'll be telling you when you're going to have your pictures in on screen towards the end. What are we going to do? I'm going to ignore obvious things like that. I've set up a little thing on the table already because I'm good like that. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to move you around a little bit. I'll stick you up here on the sideboard. Let's have a look in the phone. What can I see? Are you in the right place? Not bad. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. I need my glasses. Poor old man. One hand, one head, almost. That's all right. Yeah, I think you can see what we're going on. Now look, down here we have got a little still lifey arrangement I've set up. That's a mug of hot chocolate and some marshmallows. We've got a book, lovely book by Paul Gadd. Paul, and if you still follow my stuff, Paul sent me this book of his photos some years ago and it's great and I've often enjoyed it. Thank you, Paul. It still lives on. So, what are we going to do? I'm just seeing some shapes. We got circular shapes and we got a hard line in the edge of the book. And we got a round mug of chocolate. Can I shoot a little bit of this to show you? Look. Here we go. Look. Book, marshmallows, cup. Circle, circle, and a nice hard line. I like the blue. We've got light coming from this window over here to the side, and it's causing these little shadows, which is creating just a little tiny bit of texture, which is what we want, isn't it? So how can we compose it? Well, let's play around. Remember, composition is all about moving the camera, arms and legs and hands and feet, and a little bit of zoom. Focal length can really help. Let's have a look. That's not quite right, is it? Let's put the cup on this side. Maybe move the mallows back a bit. I have to confess, we had to get on and make this film soon, but quickly, because otherwise I'd have eaten all the mallows and gone back to the same size of mic I used to be. That's not good, is it? Let's put that closer again. There we go. I like the angle of the cup better. We don't need to see all of everything. I like the cup in its entirety. I think that looks really good. I like the hard line of the book. It's a shame we're not really seeing the photo. How about if we add a bit of negative space, we can see a couple of pools. Look at that, I like that. Look, we've added more lines. You see how simple composition actually is. There we go, look. Now let's just move it that way. It's just little fiddly things. It's all really quite simple. I rather like that. So, let's do that as a picture. Here we go. What about exposure, depth of field? Well, we don't need a great deal, do we? Because everything's pretty much flat, isn't it? We've got a little bit of depth of field with a cup. What are we on? Let's choose an aperture. What sort of aperture do we want, do you think? I reckon f8 will be plenty. What sort of shutter speed do we want? Well, that depends on the focal length of the lens, doesn't it? To make sure you don't get camera shake and how good your image stabilizing is. Mine is switched on. Here we go. I like these colours. I kind of like this. Let's just, oh, I've lost my composition now. There it is. Let's go with that. So I have got a 30th of a second with the lens at about 30 millimeters, f7.1 actually. That should be fine, but I'm needing 2000 ISO to do that. Don't worry about these ISOs. Of course, if you've got a tripod and you do worry about ISOs, well, it's fine. You can, there it is. You can use a tripod and then it's fine, isn't it? It doesn't matter. I'm going to go in closer. I'm just going to crop things a little more and just see how it looks. Never be afraid to experiment. Let's get our shape a little, I think that looks a little more interesting. I want to check my histogram because I'm wondering if I've got a little bit of burnout on the edge of my mallows. Here, I have. So histograms, wonderfully useful feature. That means I need to decrease my exposure. I'm going to increase my shutter speed, make it faster so that we can take care of that bit of burn. Here we go. I'm going to crop the edge of the mallows, but I'm going to keep the cup in its entirety. Focus, come on camera. And there we go. Not bad, not bad. What else? Well, I've just seen one over here actually, which I think is pretty cool. Let's see if I can show you. In the corner of the room here, the bookshelf, can you see this? Can you see this? Look, you see these books? Look, we've got angles and corners and shapes going on here, and I quite like the fact that we've got a book that's a bit wonky. I rather like that. You know, that is a potential shot. I'm not going to take it, but I'm going to see if I can show you what I'm thinking with a GoPro. I mean, it's a very wide lens, but do you see what I mean? We've got a little thing going on here, and by moving back a bit and lining things up a bit, you could start to lose the window and play around with it. Look around your home, see what you can find in the way of angles, corners and shapes. There's a little one over here which I think is interesting. Let's put you back here. Make sure I've got you where you can see what's going on. You don't want all that nastiness there. Wobble you up a bit. Filming in isolation. What fun. Here we go. There's a little corner. I'm going to have to take you with me so you can see it. Look, in this corner, look, there is a nice angle here, a beam. Look, we've got a window there. That's gonna create a shape. We've got this wall here, and I've got my little barometer thing over there. And I think these lines are going to be leading lines which will bring us down here, and then if we include a little bit of negative space above and around, it'll make quite an interesting picture. Let's put you here. Bear with me, I've got to go and get my phone so I can see the shot. I think that's okay. What do we got? You can't see what I'm photographing there. Here we go, let's try. Can you see? There we go, that might work. That might work, yeah, there we go. Let's do this shot. Let's put this so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. Right, in the corner we've got our little barometer. So let me do a bit of video for you. I'm quite enjoying this. Right. Oh, it's almost there already, isn't it? Look, we've got this line coming down here. We've got the line of the window, and they're all leading to the little shelf. And look at the shadows. See, we've got a bright edge and a darker edge. And I really rather like that. I think that's really nice. Now, if we went in tighter, what would it look like? That looks pretty good too. Angles, corners and shapes. I think that's quite nice. More negative space might look better. These are all the things you need to experiment with. Now be careful because look, we're suddenly getting that guttering up there from next door. How about if we get more wall in it? We're bringing in another line then, down here. Not bad, not bad. I'm going a little closer, moving down, playing around with my composition. That might be too many lines, I'll do two versions. What about our exposure? What would you have to look out for when you're doing this shot? You're just starting out with exposure. What will you have to be very careful of? Cameras think the world is grey. We've got lots of white walls. So what was the camera likely to do? it's likely to underexpose it. This is all in my Ultimate Beginner's course, how all this works. Don't just blindly trust your light meter. You've got to use this and understand how the meter works, and then you can make up for the mistakes it'll make, because I promise you, your camera will. Here we go. Exposure. Now my light meter says I'm 3 stops overexposed, which I probably am a bit. I probably need to have it running about maybe a stop more than the light meter thinks it should be. So the light meter thinks we should have f9, 250th of a second at 2000 ISO. If I take that, I think it's going to be too dark. It is a bit dark, isn't it? So if I increase it by a stop, by going to 6.4, focus on our little barometer there. There we go. It's just brightened it up a bit, hasn't it? That just looks so much nicer. That's a nice little shape. You can try turning the camera the other way. What does that look like? That's quite interesting. Ooh, ooh. I'm going to reduce my ISO because I don't need this much ISO here. I'm going down to about 800, and I'm going to compensate by opening up my aperture. That's better. And I'm running it with a light meter saying I'm at least a stop overexposed. Make sure it's all nice and straight and level. I'm going to put the barometer down the bottom. There we go. It's just another nice little angle, corner and shape. Walk around your home and see what you can find. There's one more I want to show you because it's less obvious, and it's in here in the kitchen. I'll put that here. Let's see if I can show you. And it's on these cupboards. It's a really quite nice, very graphic looking thing. I'm gonna have to sit you down here next to me. Oh, by the way, Lobby the Lobster is here. Those of you who remember my lobster, always practice with your lobster. See if that works here. No, there. I think that kind of works. Will you be able to see me? Not that you probably want to. Right, how's that? If I sit in a chair about here, here we go, move that. Can you see it? Yeah, you can. Look, what we're looking at are these handles here, yeah? There's another one just down here. These colours, we've got this blue and this sort of yellowy wood colour. They're really good complementary colours, they are. So let's play with them, because I think we can get a very graphic shot. We've also got these little spaces between the drawers, and I think it's going to look really cool. First of all, I want to brighten up my shot so I can see what's going on. Exposure, that's all pretty much mid-grey, so the light meter will probably be about right. Now then, look, already you can see what I'm thinking. If we come out like that, it doesn't work, does it? If you come closer with a wide lens, nearly, kinda, but I think we're better to back off, make the lens longer. See, as I move the camera, we're keeping the shot about the same. Let's back off and zoom in. I have to be very careful because I only want 3. 3 is a good number. I want 1, 2, 3. I don't want this one down here. Very careful. You see how simple this is. Composition. It's so simple, guys. All you've got to do is practice. I don't want that bit at the top, the black, and I don't want the seam along the bottom of the drawer on the right. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit more. Try and line it up, get it straight. Little tweaks of focal length, look. You see, if I go there, I've gone just too high, reading the top of the drawer. Tiny tilt down, almost imperceptible, and it's gone. That's roughly our composition. Let's nuke it. Here we go. I've just got to make slight adjustments because the video format is a slightly different shape. It's 16:9 as opposed to the more 4:3 ratio of the camera. There it is. I rather like that. 3. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 1, 2, 3. I think that's quite a nice little shot. So there you go. As you can see, there are all sorts of angles, corners and shapes to be found if you start looking for them. And that's all you've got to do. Just start looking around, see what you can find in your room, in your house, wherever it may be. Images need to be uploaded by Thursday night at midnight. If they're uploaded after that, I'm sorry, there won't be time to judge them. You won't be included. This week's hashtag is on screen. You must put that hashtag into the description when you write text, when you upload your image. All the information you need is in the little thing popping out above my head here right now. If you're not sure what we're talking about, photography locked down competition. Weekly locked down cool things to do. Click that, it will tell you all about it. On that page you can leave me your email address. I'll send you notifications when we do the live judging next Sunday, when we post a new challenge. Everything you need to know, it's up here. I'm sorry we can't answer all of your private messages. There are just too many. Go to that website and you will find everything you need to know. So go have fun. Don't go to your archive and upload something from last year or a month ago or something you shot somewhere else. This is what you can do in the next 3 days, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Take care, guys, and happy shooting. Be safe.